I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I'm going to share with you some of my must-dos for being ready for the first day of school. I know that being ready for the first day can be really stressful. I know that earlier in my teaching career, I would just get so stressed out that I wasn't sleeping, and there were so many things running through my mind. So my hope is that this video kind of allows you to just maybe jot some notes down and take some of that stuff out of your brain and onto paper. So before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and do that now, and then also hit the little bell so that you're notified every time I post a brand new video about teaching literacy or just teaching in general in K2. Okay, so like I said, the beginning of the school year can be really stressful, or even just like a mix of emotions. You know, maybe you're so ready to get back into it. You have all of these ideas. Maybe you've read some books, done some professional development over the summer, and you're like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready to do this. Or maybe you've just really been enjoying your summer and you're not ready for it to end, and you kind of feel a little bit of dread. Totally okay. Doesn't mean you're a bad teacher. I've definitely been there. Maybe it's your first year, right? And this is all brand new to you. Or maybe it's your 25th year and you're like, I've done this a billion times before. Regardless, it's always helpful to have a really clear sense of what needs to be done, because then you can just get in there and do it and hopefully maximize your summertime, make the most of it, and be really ready for the first day. But I threw a lot of feelings out there, and I know you might be feeling all of the above or just one, but I'm really curious if you are in back to school season or you were recently. Leave a comment and let me know how you were feeling or how you are feeling about heading back to school. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into these tips, but first I do want to mention I'm only going to cover some of the tips and things to think about. I actually have some really detailed checklists. There's more than this for kindergarten and then first and second grade that you want to think about. And so if you want this checklist for totally free, I'll include a link in the caption for this video so that you can grab these checklists, and you don't even have to take notes then on the video if you don't want to. So just go grab those checklists so you have my full list. All right, so first tip is to move your supplies and furniture back where it needs to be. This is kind of an obvious one, but if you're newer to teaching, then you may know, or then you may not know that probably during the summer things got shifted around. Things are going to be nasty and dusty, so wipe out your bins, your desks, your tables. And when I was not necessarily a new teacher, but in a new classroom, what I really like to do is usually there'd be some kind of cabinet where there were all kinds of things in there. I actually like to pull all of that out and account for what I had and reorganize, just because if I didn't, then there would inevitably be supplies that I was looking for that I already had. And then if I wanted to get rid of some of that stuff, that would then create more space in the cabinet. And by the way, if you're getting rid of stuff, make sure that it's cool with your school, right? Don't just start throwing stuff out. Clear it with them first. But clearing out those cabinets can be a really good way to just see what you have and get ready for the year. Even if you've been in your classroom already too, you may just want to look at things with fresh eyes and say, do I really need this? Do I not need this? So this step is all about just getting everything clean and organized. Another thing that you want to do, of course, is write students' names on materials. However, if you're new to your school, check in and see, do they expect the class list to change? Because sometimes they'll give you a class list, and for the population at that school, people are moving out or moving in. So put your name or put students' names on things, but you want to make sure that there's a good chance that those are actually going to be your students and that nothing is going to change. And if you don't have time or you're just not sure about putting your students' names on things, I think that's totally fine. One thing I used to do is I would at least have name tags ready for the kids and some blank ones, so I could at least put the name tag on them, because I typically teach littles. And then I would also I don't think I would label their desks right away, because I kind of just wanted to see who sat best with who, or who gets along best with who. If you have tables anyway, if you do have desks, of course, you can label them and then you can rearrange them later. So yes, label stuff with kids' names, but also if you're not quite ready to do that, it's totally fine. You can do it later. Just make sure that maybe they have name tags or something for the first day. My next tip is to prepare your calendar, job board, maybe number line, anything that is related to the routines that you're going to be doing every day. So normally, at least in like kindergarten, often first grade, you have a calendar, you have some kind of routine where maybe you're counting or tracking the days of school, have all of that stuff up and ready. Again, you can put it up later, but I just feel like I like to start the year, even if we're not doing the full routine, I like to like show them where everything is and just kind of like create that consistency as early as possible, because routines really help kids feel safe. And so if I can start creating some consistency, even if it's just like, you know, with like the day of the month or like, you know, counting or whatever, I feel like I like to do that. And then I don't start classroom jobs right away at the beginning of the school year, but I do like to have it up. And I also kind of, when I have something posted, sometimes I like to use that to generate excitement. Oh, we're not going to have classroom jobs quite yet, but guess what? In a week or in 2 weeks, you know, show me that you're ready for it and we'll start our classroom jobs. So sometimes having a few things posted can really help create that anticipation and excitement for when you do fully roll out a routine. My next tip is to get your bulletin boards ready, but not too ready. So let me explain what I mean. At the beginning of the year, I like to put up the border. I also use cloth because paper sometimes fades, it tears. And honestly, I have the same cloth that I used for years and years. It's actually right there. And so I like to just put up like the border like you see here and then the cloth, but then I wouldn't put anything else up. That's what I mean by get them ready, but not too ready. I want the room to be inviting. I want to have some things on the walls, but at the same time, I don't want to cover everything. I don't want to have like, if you have a phonics wall or a sound wall or whatever, I don't want to have that ready to go because kids will sometimes start to see that as like, oh, it's just like part of the room and like tune it out. What I want to do is I want to kind of like build my classroom displays as I go. So if it's a phonics wall and I'm teaching a sound, I'm going to put it up on that wall rather than start the entire school year with it. If it's like, you know, I want to have some kids work on the walls, which I highly recommend, it helps them feel like the classroom is theirs. Then again, just create a blank bulletin board and you can fill it in later. Okay. So have your bulletin boards ready, but they don't have to be too ready. Your kids will come in and make the classroom their own, and you will add learning tools and visual displays as you go. My last tip is pretty simple. Make sure that all the technology you have is working. Now, I typically don't use a lot of technology on the first day of school, but maybe you need to take attendance. Maybe the kids are expected to, I don't know, like set up some kind of account and that's just a school-wide expectation. Or maybe you want to take photos of your kids. Just make sure that everything is working how you expect it to be. And, you know, that extends to other things too, not just technology. The first day of school can be stressful enough. You really want things to be as smooth sailing as possible, to not add more stress to yourself, just kind of like keep things moving and flowing. So just make sure that everything is ready. And I would even extend that to, like I said, beyond technology, that everything you're going to need for the day is like really clearly laid out. And let me add a bonus tip too. I actually like to detail my schedule out so much more for the first couple of weeks because I don't know like our specials routines yet and I want to have extra activities. And so I type out exactly what we're doing in a whole lot more detail for the first at least week of school. My lesson plans do become shorter later, but I've just found that it's a lot less stressful for me when I have a plan because, like I said, I've typically taught the littles. So if there's a crier or something else going on, then it just really helps me to have that plan. So I guess we'll sum up tip number 5 by just saying be super ready and have everything at your fingertips so you are good to go and it's a smooth sailing day. Okay, so I mentioned these checklists, and this is a really great way to just take everything out of your brain and have a list to follow. So if you want those for free, there's a kindergarten one and then a first and second grade one, and I'll include the links in the caption for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If it's back to school time for you, I hope that everything goes smoothly. Before you leave, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.